Okay, so here we are in your project, and you've now gotten to the point where you've imported your data set into your Google Sheets spreadsheet, and you've exported just the random variables that you're going to be using in step 6 out of your spreadsheet, and pasted and exported them as comma separated value text files and renamed them as a text file. And now you're on step 7, where you're designing 2 histograms for each random variable. And so in order to do that, we're going to be using a number of things here at the same time. So what you're watching right now is you're watching this tutorial video. This is for Google Sheets. And what we're going to be filling in is this MyOpenMath design a histogram from a data set problem. So you're going to want to have this problem up. So this is what it looks like. All right, we can scroll down. So this is design a histogram from a data set, version 5. You're going to want to have your spreadsheet with your data. Now, my data, was roller coasters in the United States in 2015. And this is the random variable that I'm going to design 2 histograms off of. So you kind of want to have this worksheet currently selected. You're going to need the export of this. So here's the text file, which contains just the data of my speed random variable. So you want to have this open and ready to go. And then I handed out a student project report guide. If you don't have the physical copy, you can download the PDF. And in this, if I scroll down, has some of this initial stuff. Then at this page, I've got the histogram design flowchart. So I'm going to be following, kind of each of these steps in designing the histogram. And I'll be referring to that. But I'm also going to be using this worksheet. So this is for random variable 1. I'm going to be creating 2 histograms. And I'm going to call it histogram 1 and histogram 2 for my first random variable, which is what I'm going to work on right now. So you're going to want, these things, kind of out here in front of you as we work on this. All right, so let's first take a look at, this worksheet. I guess this is a good place to start. So random variable 1, what was the name of my random variable and what were the units? So I'm going to come back to my spreadsheet, and the random variable that I'm looking at is speed, and that's in miles per hour. So I'm going to come back here to my worksheet, and this is going to be speed, and that's in miles per hour. And I'm going to try and put this in red, so it's easier for you to see what I just entered in. All right. Now let's kind of keep track and do all these things as we, kind of move forward. We'll keep track of them in our spreadsheet. So with that in mind, here's our worksheet of just the speed random variable. Now, what's nice about, software is that you can make copies of things and you can mess around with the copy and not be afraid you're going to mess up your original. So what I want to do is I want to take this worksheet and notice that when I put the cursor over this little downward caret, the cursor changes from an arrow to a little hand with a pointer finger. And if I left click on that, I can make a duplicate. So I want to make a copy of this just so that I don't mess up my original. All right. So now I can be less afraid to try things here because I'm not going to mess up what I originally started with. All right. Now I want to rename this. So I'm going to double click on it. That's one way to do it. The other way to do it is I think if you left click on this little caret, we can choose rename. And let me put annotate. Do this. Okay. And so if I click rename, then we want to know that this is the random variable speed. For me, this is speed. And let's see, I'm going to call this um, maybe design histogram, um, maybe histograms, and my open math, something like that. So this tells me a little bit more about this worksheet is going to be about. All right. Now, one thing that's going to kind of help in kind of explaining what's going on here um, is to sort this data. All right, to sort it from smallest to largest. Google Sheets isn't going to actually need you to do that. It'll do it on its own. But it just gives me the opportunity to kind of teach you about a function. So if you ever needed to sort a list of numbers, this is how you do it. So again, notice how a spreadsheet is ordered, how it's organized. You've got columns, and columns are labeled with letters from the alphabet. And then you have rows vertically listed, and these are enumerated by number. So row 1, row 2, row 3. And you reference a cell by referencing its column and its row. So this is cell A1, this is cell B1, C1, and D1. This would be cell D1, D2, D3, D4, and so on. All right, but let's go ahead and sort this list. So what you can do is you can left click on the column heading. So I can left click here on this A column and notice it selects everything. And then I can come over here to the data menu, go to sort range, and notice that this sort range option has a little triangle on the edge. This is going to open up more options, and I want advanced range sorting options. And what I'm going to click on here is I'm going to click on that the data has a header row because I have this word speed miles per hour in here. And if I don't tell it to ignore this first row, it will sort this speed miles per hour somewhere in my data. And I don't want that. Okay. So by clicking this option, notice here it says sort by, it's identifying this as being a word and it's going to leave it alone. All right. And I want to sort it from smallest to largest. And if I click sort, so notice that my value that I started with was 120. If I click sort, now it's got it sorted from smallest to largest. Okay. So that's going to kind of make it easy to kind of see some of the things that I'm going to illustrate here in a little bit. All right. So to kind of go along with this worksheet that we're filling in and that we're working on, let's just get some practice at entering stuff into a spreadsheet. So let's just create, a little prompt here, and let's just say that this is going to be random variable name and hit enter. And then here I'm going to type random variable units. And let's see here. I don't want this cell to be bolded, so I'm just going to turn that off. And what did I say my random variable name was? My random variable name was speed. And my random variable units were miles per hour. So notice what I've been doing is I've just been clicking in a cell and I've just started typing. All right. And something else that you'll notice is that spreadsheets commonly have what's called a formula bar up here at the top. And you'll notice that as I change the cell that I'm clicking on, it's changing the contents of the formula bar to show the contents of what it is I'm clicking on here. All right, so right now it's just kind of putting the text that I typed in. Now, this fact will kind of come into play soon, but I just want to draw your attention to the fact that you've got just your worksheet space down here, and you've got your formula bar up here. All right, so let's go back to our worksheet, and we have this random variable name, speed in miles per hour. And let's not forget my open math problem. So I don't think I've shown that to you yet. So let's go back to that. And when you click on that first my open math problem, which is for random variable 1, for B, this is speed. This is what it's going to look like when you first open it. So it kind of tells you the things that you need and some reservations. You're expected to complete this problem with spreadsheet software, and you cannot use the graphs that this is going to make, this My Open Math problem is going to make in your student project report. There are 8 parts to this problem. And so right now, all you can see is part 1 because we haven't finished and completed part 1. When we enter in everything in the current part and hit submit, it'll let us go on to the next part. So the reason why I wanted to break back over to this is because question 0 here in part 1 is to type in the x-axis label and units. So this is the name of our random variable. So for me, that is speed, and the units are miles per hour. All right. Now, the next thing that this part 1 requires is it requires us to input our data. So from your text file of one random variable, you want to copy and paste the data into the answer box below. This is the answer box here. A carriage return after each value is required to create a vertically formatted list of values. And so to continue, your sample size must be 20 or greater, okay, or less than 1,000. So question 1 is to copy and paste all your data in the answer box below, and this is kind of what it should look like. So how do you do that? So this is why earlier I said that I needed you to have your text file kind of open and ready to go. And remember, before I sorted my text file, it started with 120, 100, and so on. Now, if you remember from the instructions I gave you, this should only be data. It shouldn't say the name of your random variable. Okay. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to, let's see here. What I want to do is I want to select all the text. So there's many ways to do it, but I'm going to do select all. And then I'm going to copy this data. And now I'm going to come back over to the My Open Math problem, click here in the answer box. And if I right click on it, I can choose paste. And you can see it pastes the data. Now, what you may want to notice is that now there's a slider on the right-hand side, a vertical sliding bar, And if you scroll up, if you click and drag it and scroll up, you'll see all of your data is listed there. So now we've completed all of the questions in this current part. So now we can click Submit. And if we've entered everything in correctly, it'll let us on to the next part. So let's go ahead and click Submit. And you'll see that after you click Submit, it kind of returns you to the very beginning of the problem. But if you scroll down, you'll notice it's accepted your first answer. It's accepted this data. And now we didn't see this before. Now it's showing part 2. All right. So one comment that I want to make is make sure to paste in all of your data, right? Some students feel tempted to only paste in maybe the first 10 or 12 rows because they think that's as big as the box is and they can't enter in more. But I wanted to show you that you can paste it all in up to 1,000 and you can see all of it just by scrolling. Okay, so all of it is in there. All right. So I think this is a good place to stop this video. I'll break each video into parts. So this was part 1. All right. Let me know if you have any questions.